Welcome back to the Course Podcast. I'm here with star Manchester United forward and Scotland team national member, Martha Thomas. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's good to see you. We're lucky to have you today on today's episode. What you been up to lately?
It's good to be here. Not much other than just training. We're in the middle slash coming to the end of our season. It's getting quite tight. So international break coming up with Scotland, and then just lots of WSL games going on at the moment too, and FA Cup.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear. Good luck with that. So this first volume is called The Florida Water, and I know you weren't born in Florida, but you spent some amount of time of your life in Florida, and I just wanted to hear about your journey and what's gotten you to where you are today. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I was born in England. My dad is English. My mum is Scottish, so I'm half English, half Scottish. We moved to America when I was about 5, with our family, just with my dad's job. And I lived in Atlanta for a very short period of time, and then we lived in Florida for the most part, in Western Florida. I pretty much played football all the way through at Weston FC. Did a little stint at West Pines, but most of the time was at Weston. I went to elementary school, high school, all in Florida, middle school as well. And then I ended up leaving Florida and I went to UNC Charlotte for college for 4 years, where I studied exercise science. Had a quite successful college career, and then decided that, you know what, I don't want to stop here. I want to keep playing. And I pursued the professional game.
Okay, so going back to Florida, so how would you say that transition to the US was?
I think I was really young, so I think it was just such an exciting opportunity for us. Like, I just remember me and my brothers being like over the moon, and we're leaving rainy England for sunny Florida. So I think that was really exciting for us. It was a new opportunity, and because we were quite young, we were quite adaptable. And I think the opportunity that we were given in America and in South Florida for football and for schooling was really beneficial for us. And I know my parents thought that as well, so they were excited for us. And I just remember getting to America and thinking, like, how the amount of girls teams I could have gone and played for. Was when I played in the UK and England, I played for a boys team because girls teams wasn't quite at the level I was looking for, even though I was 5.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also not very accessible. So one of the biggest things that we noticed straight away was the option of girls teams that I could have played for.
Right. Okay. So when you're talking about when you came to play in Florida, how would you describe your years with Weston and Heritage? I know you went to American Heritage, so how would you say that went?
I mean, it was a fantastic experience. I met some amazing people who are best friends for life. We sort of all grew up together and played with each other, and we traveled to all these amazing places, going all over the US in tournaments. We were quite an underdog team, but had quite a good amount of success. At one point we were probably the most successful team in Weston's history. And yeah, we all got on so well as a team, and I think that's why we were so successful. And we had, coaches that believed in us. And then at American Heritage, we were also extremely successful. Won 2 state championships, went to 3 state finals. So that was obviously a big accomplishment as well. And I got a great education as well, and it just pushed me on to next levels where I was starting to get recruited by college teams. And that's when the realization of making not so much a career, but obviously having your education paid for at the collegiate level helps your family out so much, and you get to play football or soccer. And that's just what I was so excited to do.
Right. So like when you're talking about college and recruitment, how was that process for you? Was it hard? Was everything just easy for you? What would you say that was like?
I think at first, I was I think the first teams that sort of came after me, I was probably like just starting my sophomore year.
Okay.
And I was thinking, oh, I haven't even thought about this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't even think about it. All I did was just play football with my friends and really enjoy myself. I didn't think beyond that. And then when, teams started contacting my parents or contacting me, I was a bit like, oh, wow. Right. Okay. Yeah. Let's get serious about this. And at first it was a tiny bit overwhelming. I went to some ID camps that I was invited to. And the biggest stress was probably, how am I ever supposed to know what the right decision is for me to live 3 years away, 4 years of college? How am I ever supposed to know what's going to be right for me? And, I ended up committing to a school I didn't even go to. And I didn't go there because the coaches ended up leaving. I was originally committed to VCU, and then the coaches left to UCF. So that all fell through, and then that was quite a stressful time. And I had to reach back out and get back in contact with coaches from other schools. But in the end, I think I made the right decision for me. I went to UNC Charlotte, where I had quite a successful 4 years. I was a big player for them, and I really enjoyed it. And I pushed myself. I improved. I ended up playing different position. I played as a centre mid my whole life, pretty much, at Weston and at Heritage. Whereas when I went to college, they saw me a bit more of a 9, and I broke into the forward line a bit, which is what I still do now. So it definitely molded me into the player I am. But the overall college experience was stressful at times, but exciting, and it all worked out the way it was supposed to.
So going from college to pro, when did you know that you were ready to be a professional athlete?
I think going into my senior season, I was really, really excited. I had have a successful 3 years before that, freshman through junior year. I was going into my senior year. I was excited for it. We were pushing on to win a conference championship, and it was all going really well. I was going to get through the season, and then I was going to enter myself into the NWSL draft and see what happened. I went to the All-American conference that they had, so I was excited about that, and I felt like it was going to be possible for me until my conference final of my senior year, where I tore my ACL.
Oh, wow.
So that was really hard. That was really tough. I had plans to go play professionally, and the conference final was about October time. I was going to graduate in May, and then after that, I was going to have entered myself into the draft for that coming draft in January, and so it all just kind of went down the drain a bit. I sort of had to have a bit of time to reflect and obviously get the surgery done and sort all that out, because I needed it regardless. And then, buckle down and think, okay, what do I want to do? I had a lot of interest in going to physical therapy school. So that was, I had all my classes prepared in case I wanted to do that as well in college. But something just sort of came over me where I was like, oh, I'm not finished. I love football. I know I can do it if I put my mind to it. So I put myself in the best position. I got the best rehab plan. I pushed myself. I was lucky enough to work in a gym at the same time as an internship for my degree, as well as doing my rehab there, which I think really helped me. So I learned a lot about the body and how to rehab injuries and get stronger and faster and things like that. And then I sort of took that into football, and I ended up just reaching out to a bunch of teams. Because I had dual citizenship, kindly. I'm not actually an American citizen, but US resident and had a British passport. I had the ability to play in America, and I had the ability to play anywhere in Europe. So I just reached out to a bunch of teams as soon as I was sort of getting to the end of my rehab. And I ended up getting a message from a team in France who randomly messaged me on LinkedIn, and it was a scout, and he said, listen, we've got a lot of girls who come through the college system in America. Why don't you come out? And luckily I was visiting that summer. I was in England visiting family. So that summer I was like, do you know what? I'll just hop on a flight and come over and see. It was really close, right. France to England. So I went and I visited, and I really liked it. And I spoke to a few of the girls who were there. There was some British girls coming in as well. There was some American girls already there. And I just felt like it was a good move for me. I don't think it was ever the level I wanted to be playing at, but I think it was such a good transition for me from playing in college to having a massive injury to getting back into it, and I have absolutely no regrets. I met some great people there. I ended up meeting my fiance there, and I had a great time. I improved as a player. I became really excited about it, and then I ended up getting scouted by West Ham when sort of everything's kicked off for me. I was 2 seasons at West Ham, playing as a striker. Did reasonably well there, put myself on the radar, and then, after 2 years there, got picked up by Man United. And throughout all that was in and around the Scotland squad and broke through on the international scene. So honestly, from college after the ACL, I obviously hit a massive downfall. But after that, with perseverance and hard work, I've sort of just put myself up on an upward trajectory, which has been really exciting for me.
It's a story. That's a story. So yeah, so just talking about going to the professional route and then West Ham. So I know you also had the choice between the US. You had some camps with the US, then you also are now on the Scotland national team. So can you talk to us about what it's like to represent your country?
It's amazing. My mum is obviously fully Scottish, and all her family are as well. And for me, like, to play for Scotland, I can see how much immense pride like I give them, and that just, it means the world to me. Although I wasn't born in Scotland, I really do feel Scottish, and I feel the pride every time I put the shirt on and sing the national anthem and things like that. And I always give 100% every single time I step on the pitch with Scotland, and I love it. And my family come out and support me. And a lot of people ask me, you had a decision between England or America or Scotland, but as soon as I stepped foot at the first camp of Scotland, I knew it was the right fit. We're underdogs. We're a little small country fighting all the time against massive countries who have been really successful in the past, and I just kind of felt like that's what I've always been. Growing up, I was always the smallest one until I ended up, hitting a growth spurt, and then went to a smaller college and then got knocked down by the ACL and things like that. So I've always sort of seen myself as a bit of like a underdog. So for me, Scotland was just like the perfect fit, and I fit in so well with the girls. And we just want to be so successful as a team. And I really, really enjoy pushing myself with these amazing girls for our little beautiful country.
It's amazing. Definitely can relate. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So also talking about Manchester United, you signed your professional contract with them. How did that make you feel? Can you describe that for us?
Yeah, I remember I was out for dinner, and my agent called me and he was like, "Listen, I've just got a call from Manchester United. Like, they want you." And I was just like really taken aback. I knew at that point I was going to be leaving West Ham. I was just ready for something else. And there was a few, teams that were interested that I knew about. But then when Manchester United came knocking, it was just kind of like, wow, that just sounds like an amazing opportunity, and really keen to sign me. And they've got fantastic players. And I was really excited to go there and improve and know that I would have to fight really hard to get onto the pitch and things like that. And I was just really, really excited for that challenge. And then, ever since that they came knocking, it was a no-brainer for me that I was going to go to Manchester United, regardless of anything else that came in. So yeah, that summer, about a year and a half ago now, I, moved my whole life up to Manchester from London. And yeah, I've been here ever since, and I'm enjoying every moment. And all I can say is it's just every single day, it's a dream to be here and to be doing what I'm doing and playing for the club I'm playing for. And we've got such a good group of girls. It kind of reminds me of the group of team that I had at Weston, where we just all get on so well. And I've never been a part of a team in such a long time that meshes the way that we do. And I think everyone always says that about us, that it's a bit of an outlier of how well we all get on, which for me is the perfect situation, because if you're around great people, then you're going to perform better and you're going to play better, and you're just going to be a more inviting environment.
That's amazing. So, you're talking about Manchester United and how you were taken back. So was there anything you would tell yourself before the games to get the nerves out, just something that kept you motivated throughout everything?
The thing with me and nerves is I don't necessarily feel like, as soon as I think the amazing thing about football is when you step onto the pitch, everything disappears. That for me has always been the most enjoyable part of football. No matter what is going on in my life, if I stepped onto the pitch, I would forget about it for an hour and a half or however long the session or game is. And that for me is always amazing. So, if I've got nerves before a game, as soon as I step onto the pitch and I'm with my teammates and I've got the ball at my feet and things like that, it all goes away. And that's why I always just try and remind myself, there's a great quote that has really resonated with me for a really long time. And it's from Mia Hamm, and it's, play for the little girl that fell in love with the game. And for me, that is just something that I really, really try and tell myself all the time and try and live by, because we're lucky, or I'm lucky enough, and the people who I do it with are lucky enough to have a job that feels like a hobby at times. Of course, there's times where you're thinking, why am I doing this when things aren't going well? And why do I put myself through this and all this kind of stuff? I could just have a desk job and work 9 to 5. But you know, none of us want that. We've all got a bigger drive, and the bigger drive is because we absolutely love what we do, and you know, we're playing a sport that we've loved as long as we can remember. So for me, I just kind of tell myself that, and it pushes the nerves away. And as long as I give 100%, I'm always going to make that little girl proud, and that's all I can do. And if, you know, football doesn't go well on the day, and or you miss chances, or you have a bad game because you're just not passing the ball well, or whatever it is, as long as I put in 100% effort, I know that I'm going to walk away thinking, do you know what, I tried, I did my best. Let's look on to tomorrow, and that's all I can do.
That's amazing. So, out of all these years from your career, what would you say was the most memorable moment for you?
I think I always come back to this one because for me, it was probably just one of the proudest I've ever seen my family of me, and probably the proudest I've ever felt. And it's when I made my Scotland debut at the Pinatar Cup. We were playing Ukraine, and it was my first proper camp. That wasn't training camp, first games. And, you know, I got told I was starting as the 9, and I was a bit like, well, wasn't expecting that. And I went into the game, and I scored 2 goals on my debut. And for me, and my mum and dad came all the way over from America to Spain to watch, and my gran came over from England to watch. And so I had my gran there, my mum and dad, and it just, for me, as soon as I scored, like, I just wanted to like look for them in the crowd and find them, because I was just over the moon, and it meant the world for them to not only achieve what I've achieved, but for them to be there and you know, experience that moment for me was amazing.
That's incredible. Well, you know, you have so many people looking up to you, including myself from Florida and all over. So if you were to offer us any piece of advice, anything, what would you tell us?
If I'm speaking to someone who's much younger, so something I wish I could have told me, or maybe told you when you were 12, when I was coaching you and stuff like that, would probably be, don't be afraid to be making the mistakes that you're making. I don't want to say regret, because obviously I'm so chuffed with where I am, but something I wish I did more was when I was younger, I took a bit more risks on the pitch and didn't do things that were always safe, because it actually doesn't matter if you win a game when you're 12. It really doesn't. You're out there to improve. You're out there to get better. Like,
Yeah.
because it creates a competitive environment. But, you know, trying that risky pass, or, you know, trying to take some people on 1v1, like, I wish I just expressed myself a bit more younger when I was younger, and played with a bit less fear of, oh, if I don't do that, am I going to get picked? Like, do you know what? You're 12 years old. Enjoy it. Take risks, because in the long term, it will pay off.
Right. That's amazing. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being on this episode with me. I appreciate it. Make sure you guys like and comment and subscribe to this channel, and follow Martha on her platforms. I appreciate you again. You have anything else to say to them before we leave?
No, I appreciate you guys listening, and if I've helped one person today or motivated one person, then that's all that matters to me. You know, a lot of us have a lot of things in common when it comes to sport. So whether it's football, soccer, whether it's whatever kind of sport you play, hopefully it resonated with some people.
All right. Well, thanks. It was nice having you. Have a good one, guys. All right. Bye.